Greetings. In this video, I'm going to discuss the Spanish folk song on page 90 of the Christopher Parkening Classical Guitar Method, Volume 1. Now, first I would like to address one of the fingerings. On the 21st measure, we have this D chord, and we go into this G sharp diminished chord. And this guy, what I recommend, when we're in this D shape, it tilts our hand up like this. It doesn't have to, but this is pretty natural and normal. And to go into this chord right here, what I personally prefer is to use the pad of my pinky and just reach out to grab that G sharp. And if I try to stay here and then I open up this way, it creates a lot of tension in the back of your hand. There's situations where you have to do things like that, but in this case, it's vastly easier to stay at this angle, which is also advantageous for the very next chord. So I would encourage you just to position it by letting your hand tilt up toward that headstock. And then just open up your hand. See how my middle finger stays in one spot, my index finger opens up, and then I can reach out with my pinky. What happens here? There it is. So it doesn't have to be terribly hard if we do it that way. Another thing I would like to discuss is phrasing. Now this piece has two main sections, and we're just going to call them A and B. And one thing I would encourage you to do is think about someone singing. Now they have exceptionally long breath. It's kind of one big long phrase, but the A section is one big phrase and the B section is one big phrase. It kind of keeps spinning and spinning and spinning out. But at the end, we don't want to stay right on the same beat as we go into the next section from A to B and B back to A. It's really good to imagine taking a breath. Let me go for so starting on the fourth system, measure 13. So if you've sung a lot, you get the idea. It's only natural to add a little bit of a breath in order to go into the next section. Obviously, you don't want to have a loud, breathy sound in a recording or something like that. But as far as pacing, how are you going to treat a section change rhythmically? In this case, the section change doesn't glide fluidly. You know, there's pieces of music where the texture is just really dense and it keeps on going, and you go into a new section, but there's no gap, no place to take a breath. Well, this section affords a huge gap, and it's really great to just add an extra half a beat or something. You don't want to be dramatic and make it super long, but it helps just to kind of give the ear a sense of closure on that first phrase. So I'd encourage you just to practice that you maybe slow down a tiny bit going into the end of that phrase. And then just roll right into that next section. So make sure you're letting it breathe. It's one of those things too that it's good to record yourself and listen to it. Sometimes a gap seems really long in your head, but when you listen to the recording, you'll find out, oh my gosh, that's super short. So you've got to be self-critical and really challenge yourself in that way. So recording yourself is very, very humbling and very helpful for getting you to grow and produce a sound that you would want to hear. Okay, the other thing I wanted to discuss was the key change. This is a piece of music in which we go into our parallel major from our minor key. So we start in A minor. Whoops, that's not D minor. A minor, D minor, E dominant. Just did a little 1, 4, 5, dominant 5, 1 in minor. And then we go into the parallel major. Now, that just has a very brightening sound. If I were to go from A minor into C major, which is the relative major, you know, it does have a brightening effect, but it's not the same as going into the parallel. So that's what's happening here, is it's staying on the same root. Our root is A. We build our minor scale and our major scale off of the A note. but we switch from A minor to A major and back into A minor. And that's what creates the characteristic drama that you hear in this piece of music. So if you're looking to create your own music, that's what's going on here. If you add that tool to your toolbox, then you can get the very same effect by applying that concept. So anyways, I know that's not a ton to offer, but I just want to throw that out there. I recognize that I'm playing it much more quickly than on Dante, but I like it faster, and hopefully you enjoyed listening to it if you've listened to it, and hopefully my input is helpful as you're seeking to grow as a musician. Thank you for watching.